John 8:3. Aducunt autem scribae et Pharisai mulierem in adulterio deprehensam, et statuerunt ea in medio. And the scribes and the Pharisees brought near or led in a woman caught or taken in adultery, and they set or positioned her in the midst of those people there. So we've suddenly got a pretty dramatic event. Remember, the last couple of verses have set the scene where Jesus is teaching the whole people in the temple. He's come in early in the morning. They're gathered about him and they're listening. And then there's a confrontation at the hands of the scribae et Pharisai, as before in the Gospel of John and as will happen again. And this verb here, aducunt, is, as you may guess, a compound of ad and duco. They brought her up, they brought her in, they led her before him, they conducted her to this place. Any of those translations probably would work. And who is she? She's a mulier, a woman. And this is a pretty nondescript word in Latin. It just means an adult female without really any additional information. But the evangelist tells us that she wasn't just any mulier, she was in adulterio deprehensam. So that's a pretty important extension of this noun. And it tells us that the scribae and Pharisai had already been active in this woman's life. Deprehendo, deprehendere means to seize on or grab or to catch someone doing something. And here are perfect passive participle, deprehensus, from that verb, correctly declined, of course, to modify our accusative singular feminine antecedent, tells us that before the time of the main verb, aducunt, the Pharisees and scribes have already caught her. She has already been caught in the passive voice. In adulterio, the combination of these two words, adulterium and deprehendo, occurs in no less an authority than Cicero. So that goes back a ways. That's a pretty standard expression by the time the Vulgate is composed. And that's a nice slice of classical Latin there, even though we are, of course, thinking about post-classical times here. And what else happens? Et statuerunt eam in medio. They place or put her in medio, in the midst of all those who are there. They kind of bring her right to the center of the crowd, presumably where Jesus is. And this is going to set up quite a dramatic conversation to come.